Hello, my name's Jeff, so you'll know me as Sigma. I'm going to go over some material. Some of this material I've gone over before, and this will also have some new material. Alright, so I'm going to begin this video by doing an analysis of the words holy and Bibles. Alright, holy, we go down here. Divide holy into H, O, L, Y. The H remains the same. OL is O15 plus L12 is 27. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use a rule called the letter value rule. So the way the letter value rule works is if a number falls outside the range of 1 through 26, in order to translate that number to a letter, you must translate to a number that falls within that range. Because there are 26 letters in the alphabet, only the numbers 1 through 26 can be translated to letters. So 27 falls outside the range of 1 through 26. So in order to find the letter value, we subtract the equivalent of the alphabet, which would be 26. We subtract that from the 27. So OL adds up to 27, and then find the letter value. We subtract an alphabet of 26 from it. 27 minus 26 equals 1. And in this case, we can spell 1 as a word, O-N-E. All right, the Y is going to remain the same. So honey becomes H, remains H, O-L becomes O-N-E, and Y becomes Y. So holy becomes honey. Now let's go back up here to Bibles. Rearrange the letters in Bibles to B-I-B-L and E-S. The letters in B-I-B-L add up to 25, separate and translate. 25 equals 2B and 5E, which is BE. Therefore, BIBL becomes BE. The ES remains the same. Therefore, Bibles becomes Bees. This means that if holy becomes honey and Bibles becomes bees, then Holy Bibles becomes honeybees. Okay, so let's see. Holy Bibles equals honeybees. Now, in order to collect pollen, honeybees fly to flower. All right, so let's take the word honeybees first. Rearrange the letters in honeybees to HN, OYES, BEE. Add the letters in group 1. H8 plus N14 is 22, which is V. The OYES remains the same. B2 plus E5 plus E5 is 12, which is L. Therefore, if HN equals V, OYES equals OYES, and BEE equals L. From these letters, we rearrange to get voiles. Therefore, honeybees equals voiles. All right, let's take the word fly. Fly is the name of a movie that starred Jeff Lynne Goldblum. The name of the movie is not found in Goldblum, but is found in Jeff Lynne. Therefore, we discard the Goldblum and keep the Jeff Lynne. Therefore, fly equals Jeff Lynne. Therefore, honeybees, voiles, plus fly, Jeff Lynne equals Jeff Lynne voiles. So Holy Bibles equals honeybees. Honeybees fly equals Jeff Lynne voiles. So that means that honeybees fly to flower equals Jeff Lynne voiles flower. Over here we get the final result. So Holy Bibles translates to honeybees fly flower, which in turn translates to Jeff Lynne voiles flower. Okay, now here we see that Holy Bibles equals Jeff Lynne voiles flower. The Jeff from Jeff Lynne, we bring it down over here. Jeff translates to JF, EF. The JF remains the same. The EF becomes 11, which is K. Therefore, Jeff becomes JFK. JFK is the Oliver Stone movie about John Kennedy and his accused assassin Oswald. Therefore, Jeff equals JFK equals John Kennedy Oswald. John Kennedy Oswald is the birth name of Janie Lane. Janie Lane was the lead singer of a band called Warrant. Janie Lane was lead singer on the song Heaven by Warrant. Now, come back over here. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees. Honeybee Sting. Sting was the name of a musician who worked for the police. The police are someone who asks you if you have a warrant. Warrant is the name of the band for which Janie Lane was lead singer. Janie Lane sang Heaven for the band Warrant. Holy Bibles begin with the phrase "in the beginning." In the beginning is the name of a song by a band called Heaven. Heaven is the name of a song by a band called Warrant. So you see, all these things are connected. Holy Bibles becomes honeybees. Honeybee Sting. Sting was worked for the police. The police ask you if you have a warrant. Warrant had a hit song called Heaven. Heaven was the name of a song called In the Beginning. In the Beginning is the first line from Holy Bible. So all that's connected there. All right, Janie Lane sang a hit song called Heaven, but Janie Lane also sang a hit song called Cherry Pie. So from Jeff, we get JFK, which is John Kennedy, a movie about John Kennedy and Oswald. John Kennedy Oswald is Janie Lane. Janie Lane sang a hit song called Cherry Pie. So Cherry Pie can be put up here near Jeff. So now, if Jeff translates to Cherry Pie, then Jeff Lynn Voiles flour now becomes Jeff Lynn Voiles Cherry Pie flour. My name is Jeff Lynn Voiles, and I used to buy cherry pie flour from a hemp shop whose name can be revealed by my name. So we bring down Jeff Lynn Voiles, bring it down to here, Jeff Lynn Voiles. I've explained elsewhere in other videos that this name, my name, Jeff Lynn Voiles, translates to Destroyer Beth. I'm not going to explain it here, but I have in other videos. Destroyer, the tour for Destroyer was called Spirit of 76. They released a poster in stores. The poster showed Kiss standing and holding an American flag. The American flag is a symbol of freedom. Therefore, Destroyer equals Spirit of 76 poster equals American flag equals symbol of freedom. From Destroyer, we get freedom. Beth was a 1976 hit song by Kiss. 1976 hit song by Kiss was Calling Dr. Love. Calling Dr. Love is about a doctor. A doctor takes care of your health. So from Destroyer Beth, we get Freedom Health. So Jeff Lynn Voiles flour. Jeff Lynn Voiles becomes Destroyer Beth. Destroyer Beth becomes Freedom Health. Therefore, Jeff Lynn Voiles flour becomes Freedom Health flour. Freedom Health is who used to sell cherry pie flour until they discontinued selling it. All right, so that takes care of all that there. All right, so whenever I would buy cherry pie flour from Freedom Health, whenever I, Jeff Lynn Voiles, bought cherry pie flour from Freedom Health, I would get some bonus mystery flour along with it, as long as I bought a certain amount of cherry pie flour. So buying a certain amount of cherry pie flour qualified me to get free mystery flour. Mystery is a song by Ronnie James Dio, therefore it's a musical work by Dio. A musical work by Dio would be Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell album, on which Dio was lead singer. So from Mystery we get musical work by Dio, and over here we get Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell. All right, on the cover of Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell album, there's a picture of an angel with wings. All right, so angel equals wings. Wings are used to fly. Fly is a movie starring actor Jeff Lynn Goldblum. The name of his movie Fly is found not in his last name, but in his first and middle name. Therefore, we carry over the first and middle name and discard the Go Bloom to get Jeff Lynne. Angel is a character found in Holy Bibles. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees. Honeybees translates to Voiles. Therefore, angel equals Jeff Lynne Voiles. Therefore, the angel on the cover of Heaven and Hell translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. All right. The angels on the cover of Heaven and Hell are from heaven. The reason we know this is in artwork, angels from heaven are depicted as having bird wings, whereas angels from hell are depicted as having bat wings. All right, so since these angels on the cover of Heaven and Hell have bird wings, they are from heaven, which is Heevan. Hee adds up to 18, separate and add. 18 is 1 plus 8 equals 9, which is I. Put the I with the van to get Ivan. Therefore, heaven translates to Ivan. Therefore, the angel being from heaven translates to Ivan. Now, the angel's holding cards. The front card that the angel's holding is an ace, which is ACE. A is 01, C is 3, and E is 5 for 0135. Therefore, heaven ace equals Ivan 0135. So the angel translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. The angel translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles, and the location of the angel, heaven, and the card that the angel's holding, ace, translate to Ivan 0135. So Jeff, through the mystery flower, connects me, the person getting the flower, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. Now, the name of the album, okay, so we get Ronnie James Dio from Mystery. Ronnie James Dio takes us to Heaven and Hell. From Heaven and Hell, we get Heaven, which is the name of a hit song by Warrant. The name of a hit song by Warrant is Cherry Pie, and it's the cherry pie flower that led to me getting the Mystery flower for free. So we get Cherry Pie. So we get Mystery is Ronnie James Dio. Ronnie James Dio is Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, which contains Heaven. Heaven, in turn, is a hit song by Warrant. A hit song by Warrant is Cherry Pie. So as you can see, the Mystery and the Cherry Pie can be connected by Dio. One as a solo artist and the other as lead singer of Black Sabbath. All right, so Jeff Lynne Voiles from over here. Let's see. Okay, we go down. Jeff Lynne Voiles. Okay, now you take the name Jeff Lynne Voiles. That's derived from Holy Bibles. Okay, Holy Bibles translates to honeybees. Honeybees fly translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. Now we take the name Jeff Lynne Voiles. Jeff, as I've explained in other videos, translates to Jesse Marcel photograph silver foil balloon. Jeff Lynne, as I've explained in other videos, translates to Fly, which is the name of an album by the Dixie Chicks. And the Dixie Chicks Fly album, as I've explained elsewhere, translates to Skinny Bob Aliens. The name Voiles, as I've explained elsewhere, translates to 1947 Flying Saucer. So Holy Bibles translates honeybees, which references honeybees fly. That phrase translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. Jeff Lynne Voiles, in turn, translates to Jesse Marcel photograph silver foil balloon, 1947 Flying Saucer, Skinny Bob Aliens. So Jesse Marcel was the major sent to the Mac Brazel Ranch to investigate wreckage from a 1947 Flying Saucer. Later, as part of the cover-up, Jesse Marcel was ordered to have his photograph taken with silver foil and balloon material. The occupants of the 1947 Flying Saucer looked just like the Skinny Bob Aliens in the Ivan 0135 video. So Jeff Lynne Voiles translates to 1947 Flying Saucer. Skinny Bob Aliens, that's what the occupants of the saucer were. Jesse Marcel photograph, silver foil balloon, that's part of the cover-up. Ivan 0135 is where you go to YouTube to see the image of the Skinny Bob Aliens. Oh, by the way, I've noticed a lot of AI Skinny Bob videos up. I mean, in a way, it's a good thing because when you watch the AI Skinny Bob videos, it makes it so much clearer how real the actual videos are. I mean, you look at some of these; you can very easily tell. Like there's one where it looks like the Bob's got blood pouring out of his mouth or something. It just looks really hokey. But now in the same video, it's got the fake AI Skinny Bobs. They do have a uh, orb flying next to a flying saucer. Now that clip I like. The other stuff was very fake looking. The Skinny Bob things were real fake looking. Very much AI generated. All right. um, First book in the Bible is Genesis. It's a hit song. The band Genesis have a hit song called Mama. Mama is what I used to call my mother, whose name is Brenda Boyles. Genesis is the book of the Bible with the Garden of Eden story. Garden of Eden is sung by Guns N' Roses, whose lead singer is Axl Rose. They have an album called Lies. The guitar player's name is Slash. Genesis is the story, contains the story of Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve. Therefore, Genesis equals Brenda Ann Boyles, Axl Rose, album Lies, Slash, Adam and Eve. I wrote even for some reason. All right, as I've explained in other videos, the name Brenda translates to ET-DNA, which can be expanded to extraterrestrial DNA. The name Ann translates to NM. The name Voiles translates to 1947 Flying Saucer. Axl Rose translates to Roswell. The album cover for GNR Lies features newspaper headlines. The name Slash remains the same. Adam and Eve can be rearranged to AND, Adam Eve. A remains the same. ND adds up to 18, which is R. R is a homophone for the word R, A-R-E. Adam and Eve add up to 51. Put the A with the R to make area. Put that with 51, you get Area 51. Genesis translates to 1947 Roswell, 1947 Roswell, New Mexico, newspaper headlines, flying saucer, Slash, and extraterrestrial DNA, Area 51. All right, so I'll explain Holy Bibles translates to voiles. Voiles in terms, wait a minute. Holy Bibles, I missed a step. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees. All right, honeybees fly to flower in order to gather pollen or whatever it is they gather. All right, so honeybees translates to voiles. Fly is a movie starring an actor named Jeff Lynne, and flower remains the same. Therefore, Holy Bibles equals honeybees. Honeybees fly to flower. Honeybees fly flower becomes Jeff Lynne Voiles flower. All right, in the beginning, that's a song by a band called Heaven. Heaven is found in Holy Bibles, is talked about in Holy Bibles, which in turn translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. Heaven's a hit song by Warrant, who also had a hit song called Cherry Pie. The name Jeff Lynne Voiles translates to Freedom Health. At Freedom Health, I get Free Mystery Flower. Mystery's a song by Ronnie James Dio. Ronnie James Dio I saw in concert with Black Sabbath on the Mob Rules tour. The cover of Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell album translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles Ivan 0135. So all those keywords here are found in the beginning here. Now you get Genesis, 1947 Roswell, New Mexico newspaper headlines, flying saucer, Slash, and extraterrestrial DNA, Area 51. So in 1947, Roswell, New Mexico newspaper headlines featured a headline about the capture of a flying saucer and a smaller headline about a tax slash. All right, so extraterrestrial DNA was retrieved from occupants during an autopsy. All right, so Holy Bibles, honeybees. Okay, so let's go down here. Jeff Lynn Voiles, Jeff Eagles Jesse Marcel photographs, silver foil balloon. Jeff Lynn translates to contains fly, which references Dixie Chicks Fly. That in turn, as I've explained in other videos, translates to Skinny Bob Aliens. Voiles translates to 1947 Flying Saucer. So my name translates to the occupants, Skinny Bob Aliens, the Flying Saucer, the craft, 1947 Flying Saucer. And then the man who was sent to investigate the flying saucer wreckage and then had to pose for a photograph to help cover up the crash of the flying saucer. That man would be Jesse Marcel. The photograph he had to pose for was part of the cover up. It included silver foil and balloon from a weather balloon. All right, at Freedom Health, I used to buy cherry pie when they sold it. Cherry pie is the name of a hit song by Warrant, who also have a hit song called Heaven. Heaven is where is depicted as having angels with wings on their backs. All right, so angel is a character in Holy Bibles. Wings are used to fly. Therefore, angel with wings equals Holy Bibles fly. Holy Bibles fly translates to Voiles Jeff Lynn. Therefore, Freedom Health translates to Voiles Jeff Lynn. Jeff Lynn Voiles is the person who used to buy cherry pie from Freedom Health. Freedom Health, whenever I would buy a certain amount of cherry pie, would give me free Mystery Flower. Mystery is a song sung by Dio. Dio was the lead singer on the Heaven and Hell album. Heaven and Hell has an angel on the cover holding an ace. An angel's from heaven. The angel's holding the ace. Heaven translates Ivan. Ace translates 0135. Therefore, Heaven and Hell translates Ivan 0135. So the cherry pie. Okay, so cherry pie is what I used to buy from Freedom Health. Cherry pie is a hit song by Warrant. Warrant had a song called Heaven. In Heaven, and then so we get Heaven there, and then we get with the cherry pie, we'd get Free Mystery. That references Ronnie James Dio's song. So that represents Ronnie James Dio singing. And then cherry pie represents heaven. So Ronnie James Dio and Heaven together represent Ronnie James Dio being the lead singer on Heaven and Hell. The Heaven and Hell album translates to Jeff Lynn Voiles Ivan 0135. Therefore, Freedom Health translates to Jeff Lynn Voiles Ivan 0135. All right, Freedom Health customer is Jeff. Jeff translates to JFK. JFK is an Oliver Stone movie about John Kennedy and his accused assassin Oswald. John Kennedy Oswald is the birth name of Janie Lane. Janie Lane was the lead singer of Warrant, who had a hit song called Cherry Pie. Cherry Pie is what I used to buy from Freedom Health. Therefore, Freedom Health equals Cherry Pie. All right, Freedom Health equals customer equals Jeff Lynn Voiles, translates to Destroyer Beth. Destroyer equals Spirit of 76 tour, which had a poster. The poster featured the American flag. The American flag is freedom, symbol of freedom. So from Destroyer, we get Freedom. Beth was a 1976 hit song by Kiss. 1976 hit song by Kiss was Calling Dr. Love. Calling Dr. Love was a song about a doctor, and a doctor takes care of your health. Freedom Health customer equals Jeff Lynn Voiles. Jeff Lynn Voiles decodes to Destroyer Beth. Destroyer Beth in turn decodes to Freedom Health. Therefore, Freedom Health becomes Jeff Lynn Voiles, becomes Destroyer Beth, becomes Freedom Health. It becomes a circle. All right, Bull God, Kid Rock. When I was a senior in high school, or the school year ended, I was still 17. I didn't turn 18 until June 20th. So in the yearbook of my senior year, my high school nickname was listed. That nickname is Rock and Roll. It can be found in the 1982 Harriman High School yearbook, which is listed on classmates.com. All right, so Jeff Boyle, senior, Harriman High School, age 17, rock and roll. Age 17, I was still a kid. Rock and roll can be shortened to rock. Therefore, when the school year ended, I was Kid Rock. When I was an adult, my mother bought me a bag of weed for my birthday one year. My mother was a Taurus. Taurus Brenda bought me pot for my birthday one year. Taurus in the zodiac is the bull. The name Brenda translates to God. Therefore, Taurus Brenda equals bull god. That means when Taurus Brenda bought Jeff Foyle's pot, it was the bull god buying Kid Rock pot. Pot is an anagram for top. God is an anagram for dog. So we go down here and we look at all the keywords. We'll get Taurus Brenda's son. Birthday gift equals pot. Pot is either pot or top, which can be, so yeah, that can be one of those. Taurus, Brenda's son, student. Okay, this is a reference to Kid Rock. All right, Taurus, Brenda's son equals Kid Rock. So, Taurus, Brenda, birthday gift to her son, Kid Rock and Roll equals pot. My mother, Taurus, Brenda becomes bull god. 17-year-old student, nickname Rock and Roll, becomes Kid Rock. Pot. So we get pot, bull god, Kid Rock. Bull god remains the same. Kid Rock remains the same. Top can be either top or pot. Dog can be either dog or god. So from that we get top dog, pot god. In the song Bull God, Kid Rock sings about being the top dog to the pot god. All that can be derived from my mother buying me a bag of pot for my birthday one year. Sly Stallone, along with Kiss, was given an award at the Kennedy Center Awards by Trump. As Rocky, Sly Stallone fought Ivan Draco with boxing gloves. Ivan Draco equals Ivan. Boxing gloves are a popular name is Everlast. Everlast is a singer with a song called Black Jesus. Black Jesus has the lyric "Kiss My Love Gun." That lyric contains the name of the album Kiss Love Gun. Kiss My Love Gun equals Kiss Love Gun equals Kiss equals Kennedy Center Awards. Kiss My Love Gun equals Kiss Love Gun equals first lead vocal from Ace equals Ace. Therefore, Rocky fought Ivan Draco with boxing gloves, which equals Ivan and Ace. Ivan remains Ivan, and Ace becomes 0135. Therefore, Ivan 0135, or Rocky becomes Ivan 0135. Sly Stallone at the Kennedy Center Awards was awarded by Donald J. Trump. We know from a viral video of a honeybee flying to Donald J. Trump and him catching in his hands. We know that honeybees fly to Donald J. Trump. Honeybees translates to Voiles. Flies maybe starring actor named Jeff Lynne. Therefore, from Honeybees Fly, we get Jeff Lynne Voiles. Therefore, Sly Stallone being given an award by Donald J. Trump becomes Sly Stallone being given an award by Jeff Lynne Voiles. Sly Stallone, Ivan 0135, and Donald J. Trump, Jeff Lynne Voiles becomes Ivan 0135, Jeff Lynne Voiles. So when Trump gave an award to Sly Stallone, also known as Rocky, he was creating a connection of Stallone through fighting Ivan Draco with boxing gloves was a reference to Ivan 0135, and Trump through the honeybee flying toward him in the viral videos, Jeff Lynne Voiles. So Stallone and Trump together become Jeff Lynne Voiles, Ivan 0135. All right, so Ivan Draco becomes Draconic. Stallone, as Rocky wore boxing gloves, Boxing gloves equals Everlast equals Black Jesus equals Kiss My Love Gun equals Kiss Love Gun. Kiss Love Gun equals first Ace lead vocal. Ace on cover but not on tour. Okay, first lead vocal, that puts the spotlight on Ace. There was an album on which Ace was on the cover, but he was not on the tour. That tour was Creatures of the Night. On the Creatures of the Night tour, the opening act was advertised as Night Ranger, but when me and my friend Billy got there, it was actually a band called the Plasmatics. That band has an album called Metal Priestess, which is a reference to a priestess. Therefore, Stallone equals Priestess. So from Stallone, we get Draconic Priestess. From Donald J. Trump, we get Jeff Lynne Voiles. So from the Kennedy Awards, we get Trump and we get Stallone and Trump. From Stallone, we get Draconic Priestess. From Trump, we get Jeff Lynne Voiles. So from the Kennedy Awards, we get Draconic Priestess and Jeff Lynne Voiles. Now, at the time of the Kennedy Awards, Jeff Lynne Voiles, as I am now, was subscribed to Draconic Priestess, a YouTuber named Draconic Priestess who reads tarot cards. All right. Jeff Lynne Voiles has subscribed to Draconic Priestess. Jeff Lynne Voiles' high school nickname, Rock and Roll, is a song from Led Zeppelin 4. Led Zeppelin 4 cover art features an image of the Hermit. The Hermit is an image from tarot cards. Therefore, Jeff Lynne Voiles equals tarot cards. So from Stallone, we get Draconic Priestess. From Donald J. Trump, we get Jeff Lynne Voiles. From Jeff Lynne Voiles' high school nickname, Rock and Roll, we get tarot cards. All right, so Stallone becomes Draconic Priestess. Jeff Lynne Voiles Trump becomes Jeff Lynne Voiles, whose high school nickname, Rock and Roll, becomes tarot cards. Therefore, Draconic Priestess and Jeff Lynne Voiles becomes Draconic Priestess and tarot cards. So Draconic Priestess is a YouTuber who uses tarot cards. All right, so here we got the Kennedy Awards, translates to Draconic Priestess, Jeff Lynne Voiles. All right, Draconic Priestess, Jeff Lynne Voiles translates to Draconic Priestess and my high school nickname, Rock and Roll. Draconic Priestess, Rock and Roll becomes Draconic Priestess, Led Zeppelin 4, which becomes Draconic Priestess, Hermit. That's the artwork from the cover. Draconic Priestess, Hermit becomes Draconic Priestess, tarot card, because the Hermit image from the Led Zeppelin 4 album cover is the Hermit from tarot cards. So from the Kennedy Awards, we get reference not only to the fact that Jeff Lynne Voiles, watched Draconic Priestess, but that fact that she reads tarot cards. All right, so in one of her videos, she mentioned a vanity mirror. All right, vanity is is a quality that someone who is vain has. A person who is vain, the word vain is an anagram for Ivan. Mirror is where one looks at their face. Face is anagram for Ace F. Mirror. This is a reference to Ace Frehley and the song Fractured Mirror, which is from the album Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley, in turn, can be referred to simply by his first name, Ace. Therefore, mirror equals Ace. Therefore, vanity mirror. Vanity equals vain. Mirror equals face, which is Ivan, and Ace, which is Ivan 0135. Therefore, when Draconic Priestess mentioned a vanity mirror in code, she was saying Ivan 0135. All right. Jeff cherry pie odor. The very first time I ever bought cherry pie flour from Freedom Health, the person selling it to me removed the lid and held it up so I could smell the odor of the cherry pie flour. So my first exposure to cherry pie flour at Freedom Health was smelling the odor of it. And my name is Jeff. So we see that Jeff becomes Jeff, which is JE66, which is the word 66. Rearrange those letters to JESS, IXIX. JESS remains the same. IXIX adds up to 66. Break that down to its letter value. 66 minus 52 equals 14, which is N. Flip a lowercase n to make a lowercase u, and then turn that lowercase u into an uppercase u. Therefore, ix equals u. Therefore, JESS remains the same. IX becomes u. Therefore, JESSIXIX becomes JESSU, which is anagram for Jesus. Therefore, Jeff becomes Jesus. The thing Jeff was buying was Cherry Pie. Cherry Pie is a hit song by Warrant. Warrant had a hit song called Heaven. The first time, my first exposure to Cherry Pie was when the person selling it to me let me smell the odor of the Cherry Pie. Odor is an anagram from door. So Jeff smelling the odor of Cherry Pie, which here we have the keywords Jeff, Cherry Pie, odor. So Jeff translates to Jesus. Cherry Pie is a hit song by Warrant. A hit song by Warrant is Heaven. Odor is an anagram from door. So Jeff smelling the odor of Cherry Pie translates to Jesus, heaven door. This is a reference to the fact that in the Bible, Jesus says, I am the door to heaven. And then here's where I kind of go through all that. Okay, on Draconic Priestess on July 29th, talked about Hey Cat, He Cat. All right, let's see what we got here. H. Okay. Yeah, okay, this name, He Cat, uh, translates to honeybees. All right, H remains the same. The A becomes 1, which can be spelled O-N-E. E-T adds up to 25, which is Y. Subtract the C from the E to get 2, which is B, which is a homophone for bee. Therefore, he cat becomes honeybee, which is a homophone for honeybee, and honeybees fly. Therefore, this name translates to honeybees fly, which in turn translates to Jeff Lynn Voiles. So when Draconic Priestess mentioned Hey Cat in her video title, she was actually mentioning the name Jeff Lynn Voiles. There's another episode where Draconic Priestess is wearing a shirt with Mona Lisa on it, and during the video she smiles. All right, so Draconic Priestess shirt is worn during podcast. One shirt she wore had a picture of Mona Lisa. The other one had a word angel on it. It's like a blue shirt with the word angel. All right, so it's Mona Lisa smile equals Julia Roberts movie, and then angel remains the same. All right, angel. Okay, so here's the angel shirt she wore. Had the word angel in the front. Angels found in Holy Bibles. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees. Honeybees translates to voiles. Angel is depicted in art as having wings, and wings are used to fly. Fly is a movie starring an actor named Jeff Lynne. Therefore, angel equals Jeff Lynne Voiles. All right, Mona Lisa. Wearing a Mona Lisa shirt while smiling during her video was a reference to Mona Lisa's smile. Therefore, Draconic Priestess was connected to the movie Mona Lisa Smile, which is a Julia Roberts movie. The name Julia Roberts translates to Jeff T.N. Roberts. In the movie Pelican Brief, Julia watches as Denzel Washington speaks to a man named Mr. Voiles on the phone. In the movie Conspiracy Theory, Mel Gibson mentions the name Harriman. So from Julia Roberts, we'll get Mr. Jeff Voiles, Harriman, Tennessee, Roberts. My name is Mr. Jeff Voiles, and I live on Robert Street in Harriman, Tennessee. Draconic Priestess, Mona Lisa shirt, smile equals Mona Lisa smile equals Julia Roberts movie. Julia Roberts movie translates to Mr. Jeff Voiles, Harriman, Tennessee, Roberts. Therefore, Draconic Priestess equals Mr. Jeff Lynn Voiles, Roberts, Harriman, Tennessee. My name is Mr. Jeff Lynn Voiles, and I live on Robert Street in Harriman, Tennessee, and I subscribe to a YouTuber named Draconic Priestess, who in turn translates to Mr. Jeff Lynn Voiles, Roberts, Harriman, Tennessee. All right, there's another tarot card reader who hit with quite a few things from some of her videos we're hitting. You're a lover collective. Okay, the name Jeff translates to A. Boyles translates to lover. So through uh, my very name translates a lover. So when she says you're a lover collective, that was a key word. All right, undercover angel, Silver Soul in the same video refers to the collective as an undercover angel, humble being. As I already explained, okay, undercover angel. This is actually a reference to the 1984 album by Van Halen. The cover features an angel with a cigarette pack. The cover contains an LP, which is undercover, being that's inside the cover. And you can't see it until you open the album cover. Angel equals Holy Bibles, honeybees, boils. Angel equals wings, fly equals Jeff Lynne. Therefore, angel equals Jeff Lynne Boyle. Cigarette pack equals warning label. So, 1984, the angel represents Jeff Lynne Boyles. The cigarette pack with the angel represents a warning label. It has a warning label on the side. Therefore, the Van Halen album 1984 cover art with the angel and cigarettes translates to undercover Jeff Lynne Boyle's warning label. So in the video, Silver Soul started off saying that you should come with a warning label. All right, haunting these people. All right, so I'm going to go over a equation I'm very frustrated with. Whenever I show this to people, they just don't get it. I'm like, do you think I can just make these three names mean all of this just because, I'm crazy or, I'm delusional? So, of course, whenever I tell people that we're in a game and that I can prove that we're in a game, of course, whenever I start explaining all this stuff, nobody gets it. They all just think don't know what I'm talking about and I'm just delusional. So, let's see. My family members are me, the son, Jeff Lynne Boyles, the father, Lowell Weigel Boyles, the mother, Brenda Ann Boyles. So this is the name of me. This is the name of my parents. Right? This is factual. So the name Jeff, as I've explained in other videos, I'm not going to do it here, but it translates to Jesse Marcel photograph silver foil. The name Jeff Lynne, as I've explained elsewhere, translates to Through the Dixie Chicks Fly album, translates to Skinny Bob Aliens. All right, so from my first and middle name, we get Jesse Marcel photograph silver foil Skinny Bob Aliens. So that's a lot of information right there. Now we go to my father's first and middle name. His first and middle name adds up to Roswell. All right, on the night of my father's death, I, Jeff Lynne Boyles, had a movie rented from a video store called the Movie Station. The name of the video I had was Ghost World. This movie, Ghost World, there's a scene where a guy's handing out flyers for his band. He's going to be in like a battle of the bands. And I think it's Thor Birch asking what the name of his band is, and he says Alien Autopsy. So, the fact that I had Ghost World rented on the night that my father passed away is a reference to Alien Autopsy. So, Ghost World, the movie I had rented, equals Alien Autopsy. The first and middle name of the person who passed away translates to Roswell, and then Boyles, the last name, translates to 1947 Flying Saucer. So my father's name, Lowell Weigel Boyles, translates to 1947 Flying Saucer Roswell, and on the night that he died, I, a person whose name translates to Skinny Bob Aliens and Jesse Marcel photograph Silver Foil, had a movie called Ghost World rented, which in turn references Alien Autopsy. So the fact that I, Jeff Lynne, had the movie Ghost World rented when my father, Lowell Weigel Boyles, passed away. All those things create the keywords Jesse Marcel photograph, silver foil, balloon, Skinny Bob aliens, Roswell, alien autopsy. So just from me and my father, there's a lot of keywords. Now we go and look at Brenda Ann. The name Brenda becomes E, BR becomes T, DNA, and then N is N, and NA becomes 13, which is M. So we get ET, DNA, NM, which is ET, DNA, NM. ET, DNA, NM can be expanded to extraterrestrial DNA, NM. The last name Boyles translates to 1947 flying saucer. So from Brenda M. Boyles, we get extraterrestrial DNA. Well, no, let's do both of my parents together. Lowell Weigel and Brenda Ann translate to Roswell, New Mexico, extraterrestrial DNA. Then the last name Boyles is 1947 flying saucer. The son of Lowell and Brenda Weigel Boyles is Jeff Lynn Boyles, which translates to Jesse Marcel photographs, silver foil balloon, Skinny Bob aliens, and Roswell. So the three of us together become Roswell, New Mexico, 1947, flying saucer, Jesse Marcel photograph, silver foil balloon, extraterrestrial DNA of Skinny Bob aliens. So there's a lot of information contained within these three family member names. All right, so now I'm going to tell a story about, I guess it's been probably around 15 years ago, maybe more. I was sitting in a doctor's office. When I got there, I went to the front window, signed in, and sat down. There was one other person in the waiting room. A young man was sitting in a row of seats across from me. That day, I was wearing a t-shirt that had a picture of a cover of Rolling Stone magazine on it that featured Rob Zombie. So it had both the Rolling Stone magazine logo and image of Rob Zombie on it. So anyway, I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden another patient comes in. He walks up to the window and he says his name is Miracle, and then he mentions that his birthday is on March 12th, and happens to mention that it's that particular day as National Girl Scout Day, I think. So that's what he said. I'm assuming he was telling the truth. Uh, so anyway, after giving his information, he sat down a couple seats. Well, he sat to my right. There's one seat in between us, so I guess you'd say he's a couple seats to my right. Uh, so I could see out of my side vision this man Miracle was turning and looking at me like he wanted to start a conversation, but I made a point not to turn and look at him and pretended like I didn't notice that he was looking at me. So after a few seconds, he'd kind of start looking over the young man across from us and start speaking to him. So he starts talking to this other guy. He was telling some story about when he was in the military and they had stationed on the island or whatever. But then he went from that story to a second story about his wife working as part of the cleaning crew at EG&G, and that she had found some films in the garbage out in the dumpster of Bob Lazar. And he was talking about Bob Lazar worked for the United States as a place that was part of the Area 51. Now, he didn't say anything about S4, this guy Miracle did, and he just said Area 51. But anyway, he said this guy, Bob Lazar, worked at Area 51, that he was working on backwards engineering propulsion systems for captured flying saucer. So, the fact that this man Miracle talked about Bob Lazar working in the U.S. is actually important. All right, so he talked about Bob Lazar and working for the United States of America, meaning he talked about Bob Lazar working for the U.S. So you take the name Bob, expand it to Bobby, which is boy, and BB, add up to BB to get 4, which is D. Boy BB becomes boy D, which is the anagram for body. Therefore, Bobby becomes body. Lazar, U.S. becomes Lazarus. Therefore, Bob Lazar, U.S. becomes body of Lazarus. All right. Bob Lazar, working for the U.S., was a subject matter discussed by a man named Miracle. Therefore, Bob Lazar, U.S. equals miracle. Bob Lazar, U.S. was discussed by a man named Miracle who sat next to a guy named Jeff in a Rolling Stone shirt with the image of Rob Zombie on it. Therefore, Bob Lazar equals U.S., Jeff, Rolling Stone, Rob Zombie. So the name Jeff translates to Jesus, Rolling Stone remains Rolling Stone, and Rob Zombie is a man named Zombie, and Zombie is a man who dies and then comes back to life. Alright, so Jeff L. Voiles translates to Destroyer. Destroyer was issued in 2012 as Destroyer Resurrected, which is a reference to the word resurrected. Therefore, Jeff L. Voiles equals resurrected. So, from Miracle, talking about Bob Lazar working for the U.S. while sitting next to Jeff L. Voiles, who was wearing a Rolling Stone shirt with an image of Rob Zombie on it. From Miracle, we get Miracle. From Bob Lazar, U.S., we get Body of Lazarus. From Jeff, we get Jesus. From Jeff L. Voiles, we get Resurrected. From Rolling Stone, we get Rolling Stone. And from Rob Zombie, we get Man Dies, then comes back to life. So what do we get from all this? We get Miracle, Bob talking about Bob Lazar working for the U.S. while sitting beside Jeff L. Voiles, who was wearing a Rolling Stone shirt with Rob Zombie on it. All translates to Body of Lazarus, Man Dies, Rolling Stone, then comes back to life, Resurrected, Miracle, Jesus. In the Bible, there is a story of a man named Lazarus who dies. Jesus tells the men to carry out the rolling away of a stone from the tomb of Lazarus. Then Jesus performs a miracle by turning Lazarus into a man who dies and then comes back to life via a miracle performed by Jesus. The only thing I forgot to work in there was the word resurrected. All right, let's move on from the subject of heaven to the subject of hell. The color purple featured both Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg. Oprah Winfrey rearranged the letters RPHAONWY, fire. RP remains the same. HA adds up to 9, which is I. Therefore, RPHA equals RIP. Stands for rest in peace. Rest in peace is what they say upon your death. Therefore, RIP. RPHA equals RIP equals rest in peace equals upon death. O is the ring. The star of the ring, Chase, during her MTV speech, whispered, "Everyone will suffer." Therefore, O equals everyone will suffer. O is the name of Oprah's magazine. N is a homophone for N, I-N. Flip the W and WY to make my. Fire remains fire. Therefore, NWY fire becomes in my fire. So we go down here. Oprah Winfrey becomes RIP, the ring, in my fire, which is upon death, everyone will suffer in my fire. Oprah Winfrey equals upon death, everyone will suffer in my fire. Oprah has a high school in Africa. It's referred to as the finishing school, but the grades are 8 through 12, which makes it a high school. All right, high school is my high school, was Harriman High School. The mascot there is the devil. My high school equals my high school, which is Harriman High School, which is located at the end of Trenton Street. Located at the end of Trenton Street is Christmas Lumberyard. Christmas is a holiday in which a man dressed in red named Santa crawls down a hole to reach a fireplace, which translates to Satan dressed in red crawls down a hole to reach a place of fire. All right. Anyone seen the fake Russian hole where they drill a hole in the ground? They use the barren blood audio to create the sounds from hell. Art Bell played it. Well, that's actually, I mean, even though it is a fabricated recording, it does actually mean something. All right. Africa is where her school is located. As we see here, the word Africa translates to fire. So Oprah has high school in Africa. High school equals the devil. Africa equals fire. Therefore, Oprah's high school in Africa equals the devil, fire. All right. Oprah Winfrey, O Magazine, High School, Africa. Oprah Winfrey translates to upon death, everyone suffering my fire. O Magazine equals O equals the ring equals chase speech equals everyone will suffer. High school equals HHS equals mascot equals the devil. Africa translates to fire. Therefore, Oprah Winfrey, O Magazine, High School, Africa becomes upon death, everyone will suffer in my fire, the devil. Whoopi Goldberg, he was in The Color Purple, is now one of the hosts of The View. On the day on the day that I was born, my mother's recovering in her hotel or her hospital room, and she got up to go to the bathroom. When she walked into the bathroom, she fainted, and during this period of unconsciousness, she experienced remote viewing in which she saw the beginning part of hell. There are these shadow people who came, who were about to get her, or they were coming toward her like they were going to grab her. I can explain what these shadow people are later, but I'm not going to do it now. Uh, so anyway, my mother woke up and her head was resting against the toilet, and there's a nurse holding a smelling salt under her nose. So my mother's remote viewing was of hell. The thing that brought my mother out of remote viewing was odor, which is an anagram for door. Remote viewing, my mother saw, uh, was able to view the beginning of hell, part of hell. Therefore, that references the word the view. Therefore, my mother's remote viewing of the beginning part of hell represents hell door, the view. All right, in 2001, Star Jones of the View announced that she wanted to hear from people about tragedies in their life. I sent Star Jones like a 22-page letter with tragedies in it. On the front page of this 22-page letter, there's a title page that read Human Flesh, Human Dreams, the Tender Music of Human Screams. So I did not make up that phrase. In 1996, I was in a used bookstore and I just happened to pick up a book and open it to a random page. And when I looked down at the random page, the dialogue read, Human Flesh, Human Dreams, Tender Music of Human Screams. I thought it was a cool sounding line of dialogue, so I thought I'd make a point to remember it and use it. So I ended up using it for the title page of the letter that I sent to the View in 2001. All right, Jeff Lynne Voiles contains the word fly. This album by the Dixie Chicks, their new name is Chicks. The word Chicks translates to either skin or ink. Skin, inks, or tattoos. Tattoos are the subject matter of Ink Master. The host of Ink Master used to be A. Navarro, which is a Navarro. Fly equals a movie starring Jeff Lynne Goldblum with the famous line, be afraid, be very afraid. Therefore, Jeff Lynne Voiles equals A. Navarro, be afraid, be very afraid. So on The View, there's a liar, or an alleged liar, named A. Navarro, who, when she understands what this is all about, should be afraid, should be very afraid. All right, Trent Street. Christmas Lumberyard. Oh, Trent Street is the street I grew up on. Trent Street, Christmas Lumberyard is located at 1 end street, and Christmas represents Santa. Santa is anagram for Satan. At the other end of Trent Street is Harriman High School. Harriman High School's mascot is the devil. Therefore, the two ends of Trent Street represent Satan, the devil. All right, so Trent Street, Christmas, at the end of Trent Street is Christmas Lumberyard. Christmas represents a woman who gives birth to a baby boy. That represents my mother giving birth to a baby boy when she gave birth to me. And on the day that she gave birth to a baby boy, my mother fainted. During her period of being fainted, being fainted, she experienced remote viewing of hell that connects the view to hell. On the day I was born as a baby. A baby used to be referred to as a bundle of joy. Therefore, on the day that my mother viewed hell, I came into the world as a bundle of joy. Uh, Trent Street ends at Harriman High School, which is where I dress as Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons uses a dollar sign for the S in his name. Dollar sign represents money. Money becomes MONEY, which becomes M1Y, which becomes May, which is the anagram for Amy. Trent Street is Harriman High School. In the yearbook, it would predict that I would be a wino after high school graduation. If I had become a wino, I would have drank wine. Trent Street, at the end of Trent Street is Christmas Lumberyard. Lumber is used to build a house. Therefore, Trent Street, the ends of Trent Street, I should say, translate to hell, the view, joy, and Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse had a hit song called Rehab. Rehab is the anagram for Behar. Therefore, Amy Winehouse becomes Behar. Therefore, hell, the view, joy, Amy Winehouse becomes hell, the view, joy, Behar. Therefore, Trent Street equals the view, joy, Behar, hell. Trent Street, Christmas Lumberyard, is in the Trent Street's Christmas Lumberyard, which is Christmas, which is a holiday. Holidays are sung by Madonna. Sung by Madonna's Ray of Light. A ray of light is produced by a sunny sun. Sunny sun is a homophone for sunny sun. Therefore, Trenton equals sunny and sun. Sunny sun is the body of the sunny sun is covered in fire. Therefore, sunny sun equals covered in fire. Therefore, Trenton equals sunny and sun, body covered in fire. Whoopi Goldberg was on Star Trek. On Star Trek, there's Spock was a character known as a Vulcan. That was his race. The Vulcan on Star Trek. Okay, Whoopi Goldberg is Star Trek. Star Trek equals Vulcan. The word Vulcan appears on the manhole cover next to the old Ford Lincoln Mercury lot. Vulcan equals god of volcanoes. Volcanoes produce lava. Lava gathers into a lake of lava, and a lake of lava is also known as a lake of fire. Ford Lincoln Mercury is across the street from the Vulcan manhole cover, or the old Ford Lincoln Mercury, I should say. Ford Lincoln Mercury was a Postman character in the movie The Postman. In that movie, Costner's Postman character has a letter for a man named John Scott. The name John Scott translates to Bon Scott. Bon Scott's last AC/DC album was Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell contains the word hell. Highway to Hell cover art showed Angus as the devil. Therefore, Whoopi Goldberg equals lake of fire, hell, the devil. Okay, in 2016, I had a piece of artwork displayed at War Memorial Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's like March 2016. For several months after that, the same piece of artwork hung on the wall of the legislator's office at Legislators Plaza in Nashville. It was there for like several months. And eventually it was returned to me. But, Tim Burchett used to work at Legislators Plaza, I do believe, which is where, I don't know if he was there in 2016 or not, but, so anyway, this piece of artwork, I'm just going to go ahead and explain this before I go through the equation. Even though this artwork was publicly displayed way back in 2016, it actually predicts something connected to the influencer Logan Paul. All right, so I'm going to show you. Right here we have Sandman Logan from Logan's Run. So he's Logan. And over here we have Ace Frehley, who's a guitar player in Kiss. The guitar player in Kiss is Paul. So we get Logan Paul. Okay, and then down here we have a fighter. So we have fighter, Logan, Paul. Then we have a man with a camera. And back here we have a small man hidden. It's like a little Angus Young. So this man is hidden. This man has a camera. And this man's a fighter. We have fighter. So we have a fighter with a man with a camera and with this man who is hidden. Therefore, we get fighter, man, hidden, camera. Fighter, let's see, a man who, wait a minute, a fighter who is a man with a hidden camera. All right, so we get Logan Paul, fighter, man with a hidden camera. Okay, now behind the Paul ace, who represents Paul, there's an image that can be used for different things depending on the equation. This can either be a sign, this can be a painting in a frame, or this can be a flat screen TV. Any one of the three, it can represent any one of those, depending on the particular equation. So in this equation, you can't tell here because it's black and white, but in the color version of this red circle here, the circle here is red. So we're going to have, and this, even though it can be a painting or a sign, it can also be a flat screen TV. So in this case, it's a flat screen TV with a red circle on it. So we have fighter, Logan, Paul, man with a hidden camera, red circle on flat screen TV. So this all describes the video that fighter Logan Paul made using a hidden camera to film a flat screen TV with a red circle on it. So this all predicted Logan Paul's video of the he made a video of a flying saucer where the plasma is heated up in red. All right, so let's see. I think this is all I just explained, I believe. Yeah. All right, Damien Eccles, the innocent man. Damien Eccles was featured in a documentary about 3 high school students known as the Memphis Three. Damien Eccles equals Memphis 3, Memphis equals Tennessee. 3 translates to the name Voiles via the Rome Medical Center. Therefore, Memphis 3 becomes Tennessee Voiles. My name is Voiles, and I live in Tennessee. When I was a senior in high school, I wrote an essay about witchcraft. We all had to write a big essay at the end of the year, and we got to pick whatever our subject, whatever we wanted it to be. So I did mine on witchcraft. An essay I wrote about a group of men and women gathering together to take part in a devil ceremony while wearing robes and pointed hats. Okay, so my witchcraft ceremony, I specifically went into detail about men and women gathering together to take part in a devil ceremony while wearing robes and pointed hats. So everything I described in my essay was a perfect description of the graduation ceremonies that Harriman High School had. Each graduation ceremony at Harriman High School, because our mascot is the devil, each one is a devil ceremony in which the students wear robes and pointed hats. They have these kind of like the Masonic looking hats with the circle and the square above it and all that. Well, those are pointed hats since they have corners on them. All right, so okay, high school Halloween costume day. I dressed as Gene Simmons. Now, and when I dressed as Gene Simmons, I painted bats on my face the way that Gene does. All right, so costume day equals Gene Simmons equals bats on face. Bats equals use echoes to travel. Echoes equals echoes. I left the E out. Okay, no, echoes equals echoes with the E missing. Then the E becomes L, as I explained here. The F and the I add up to 15. Subtract the E to get 10. Subtract that 10 from the 22V to get 12, which is L. So the E equals L. So echoes becomes echoes, ECHOS, plus E becomes L becomes Eccles. Therefore, costume day 10th grade becomes Eccles. So in the 11th grade, I was trying to form a band called Nightmare. I'd put like an announcement on the school announcements, looking for people to join my band. Of course, nobody wanted to. Um, so anyway, I was trying to form a band called Nightmare, and I was wanting to have everybody be a character in this thing and wear theatrical makeup. Uh, the character I created for myself is called Damien Scott, and my makeup design was based on like a skull face look. So the Damien Scott character I created, I used some of my Gene Simmons makeup left over from the 10th grade. Now, 11th grade, I used it to create the skull face for Damien Scott. So the same clown makeup was used to be Gene Simmons in the 10th grade. That connects to Echoes. Echoes becomes Eccles. I used leftover makeup in the 11th grade to become Damien Scott. That's a reference to the name Damien, which can be spelled with an E. Therefore, both my costume days, 10th and 11th, translate to Damien Eccles. So 10th and 11th grade translate to the name Damien Eccles, and 12th grade I did an essay on witchcraft. Witchcraft is what they used to put Damien Eccles in prison, claiming that he was carrying out witchcraft rituals, and it ended up in the death of these kids. All right, costume day. Uh, Jeff Boyles was the one who dressed as Damien Scott and Gene Simmons. Jeff Boyle's high school nickname is Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll is a song by Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was a Jimmy Page band. Jimmy Page band is The Firm. The Firm is a John Grisham book. John Grisham book equals The Innocent Man. Therefore, Costume Day equals The Innocent Man. So from the 10th and 11th grade costume days, I get the name Damien Eccles. Now, the person who dressed up as Gene Simmons and Damien Scott was Jeff Boyles, whose high school nickname was Rock and Roll. And from that high school nickname, we get a reference to a song played by Jimmy Page with Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page also had a band called The Firm, which connects to the John Grisham book, which in turn connects to The Innocent Man. So through Jeff Boyles, we get The Innocent Man, and through the two costume days, 10th and 11th grade, the two characters I dressed as, we get Damien Eccles. So Jeff Boyles as Gene Simmons and Damien Scott becomes in The Innocent Man, Damien Eccles. All right. So costume day, Harriman High School. Jeff dressed up. Jeff wrote an essay about witchcraft. Witchcraft. In my essay, I described a devil worship ceremony, which was actually a metaphor for the high school graduation that's going to be taking place later that year. Costume day, Harriman High School, Tennessee high school students. Costume day, Harriman High School, mascot the devil. Therefore, we get the devil, Tennessee high school students, devil worship, and ceremony. The Memphis Three were Tennessee high school students accused of carrying out a failed devil worship ceremony. So, as you see, not only does Jeff Boyles dressing up on costume day create the phrase Damien Eccles, the innocent man, it also creates the key word phrases the devil, Tennessee high school students, and devil worship ceremony. The very details that were used to put these people in prison when they were innocent. Okay, the identity of the real killer. The identity of the real killer is connected to the Gene Simmons costume I wore in the 10th grade. That morning when I left the house, my father was waiting by the front door to tell me that I wasn't going to go to school dressed as Gene Simmons, but he ended up just sitting there quietly as I opened the door and left. My father's nickname was Tony because people thought he looked like actor Tony Perkins from the movie Psycho when it came out. Okay, Gene Simmons costume. My father was going to try to tell me I couldn't wear a costume to school. Therefore, that created a connection between my Gene Simmons costume and my father. My father's nickname came from Tony Perkins from Psycho. In Psycho, Tony Perkins played Norman Bates. Norman Bates is a anagram for Senor Batman. Therefore, Gene Simmons' costume equals Senor Batman. My last class I had for the costume judging was Mr. Strunk's French class. I also took Spanish class under Mr. French or Mr. Strunk. So the thing that Mr. Strunk did is other teachers always called us by our first name, but Mr. Strunk would always call us by our last names. So in his class, in other people's class, I was Jeff, but in Mr. Strunk's class, I was Mr. Voiles. All right, but on the day I dressed as Batman or Gene Simmons, I dressed painted bats on my face. So that day I was a Batman. Therefore, I was Mr. Batman that day, and in French class, that would make me Senor Batman, which would make me an anagram for Norman Bates. So anyway, father, the costume had a connection to my father. Father equals father. Father equals Tony equals Psycho equals stabs woman to death in shower. Stabs to death equals stabs to death. Woman shower equals woman shower. A woman shower is a baby shower for a woman. The reason a woman has a baby shower, she's going to have a baby that's going to become a child. Therefore, father becomes father stabs to death child. All right, father equals Gene Simmons costume. He's connected to that. Bats. Bats translates to echo. Use echoes. Echoes becomes echoes. Gene Simmons costume. Leftover makeup was used for Damien Scott makeup. Damien is homophone for Damien. Gene Simmons costume worn by Jeff Voiles. High school nickname rock and roll is connected to Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin in turn is Jimmy Page Band. Jimmy Page Band equals the Firm. Firm equals John Grisham novel. John Grisham novels equals the Innocent Man. Therefore, Damien Eccles equals the Innocent Man. Father equals father stabs to death child. Damien Eccles the Innocent Man. So from my father, not just father in general, but from my father, we had father stabs to death child. Damien Eccles the Innocent Man. So if you want to find the real killer, look for a father who would have stabbed to death a child, not Damien Eccles. All right. See, Joe Rogan's most popular episode was Bob Lazar. He's also had Elon Musk on there, Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett, David Grush. All right, let's see. Bob Lazar becomes Bobby Lazar, who works for the U.S. Bobby Lazar translates U.S. translates to Lazarus Body. Lazarus Body is a story from Holy Bibles. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees. Honeybees fly. Honeybees fly translates to Voiles Jeff Lynne. Therefore, Bob Lazar translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. Joe Rogan, JRE. Joe Rogan becomes Roane County. JRE becomes Jeff Voiles. So Joe Rogan, JRE becomes Jeff Voiles, Roane County, or J Voiles, Roane County. My name is Jeff J. Voiles. I live in Roane County. Bob Lazar translates to Lazarus Body. That's a story from Holy Bibles. Holy Bibles translate to Honeybees Fly. Honeybees Fly translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. All right, so there's a connection to that guest. Joe Rogan equals Roane County, J. Voiles. My name is Jeff Voiles. I live in Roane County. All right, when Anna Paulina Luna was on the show, she discussed that her discussions of the Book of Enoch would increase sales on Amazon. All right, Anna equals AN minus AN is 0. 0 is a Japanese plane that carried out a suicide mission that ended up in a fatal crash. Paulina Luna translates to Alien 9. Paulina represents Florida, which is reversed to ALF, which is alien life form. Therefore, from Anna Paulina Luna, Florida, we get suicide mission, alien life form, fatal crash, none. So this is a reference to the 1947 Roswell crash being a suicide mission. The alien life form, it was a suicide mission in which the at least two of the alien life forms died in the crash, and the purpose for this was so that the human race could retrieve the extraterrestrial DNA of God from one of the dead Skinny Bob bodies. An agent later took this DNA to an orphanage where he made the nun there understand that the DNA he had with him was the DNA of God. And the nun placed this DNA, which was inside of a vaccine vial. She placed this when she gave kids their vaccines. She gave one of the female orphans, the one the man in black had brought, the one with the alien extraterrestrial DNA in it. She gave that one to one of the female orphans, that orphan being my future mother. All right. So Anna Luna talked about increasing book sales on Amazon by talking about the Nephilim, which is about fallen angels coming down and having babies with earth women. So the reason this is important, the connection to Fallen Angel on Amazon, is because on Amazon there's a paperback book called Fallen Angel. And for whatever reason, I started reading a review of it one day. I wasn't like planning on buying it or anything, but for some reason I started reading a review. Someone had done a review on the book they had bought, but it was under the actual book review, not the seller review. And they had pointed out in their review, they'd said something like it had a cigarette burn on one of the pages, and they put in parentheses, nice one. And I was like, because it's a product review, so I was thinking, so does that mean every copy of Fallen Angel comes with a cigarette burn? You know. So anyway, I did a review of the person's review. And when someone read my review of the review, they posted the phrase, will you marry me? So apparently they enjoyed my review. So anyway, we get the book was Fallen Angels. Cigarette burn represents the fact that cigarettes have a pregnancy warning on the pack. And marry is a reference to the fact that fallen angels pick earth women to marry so that they can, produce a pregnancy with them. All right, Fallen Angel. All right, Fallen Angel was a high school band formed by Jeff Lynne Boyles in high school. Okay. Fallen Angel is also a book reviewed by Jeff Lynne Boyles. All right, Jeff Lynne Boyles contains the word fly. It's a movie about a hybrid. The name Lynn translates to baby. Fly is the Dixie Chicks album, which was followed by one called Home. The word home translates to mom. Fly equals Dixie Chicks album equals home. Inside home, there's a booklet. One of the pictures in that booklet is a sign, and on that sign appears the word giant. So from Fly, we get giant hybrid baby mom. So the person who posted a review was not only had a band Fallen Angel in high school, but their name translates to giant hybrid baby mom. So the person who reviewed the book Fallen Angel was a former member of a band called Fallen Angel, whose name translates to giant hybrid baby mom. All right, so let's go from that down to Tim Burchett. All right, the name Burchett translates to Grusk. Grusk referred to the pilots of the craft as the biologics. All right, on Suno, my first follower on Suno was called the Biologics. They followed me right after liking my song, my first AI song, Lauren Boebert is Skinny. Well, it's not my first one. It's one of my AI songs. The screen icon for the Biologics Suno member is a feline. I think it might be a panther or a jaguar or something. I'm not sure. Probably a jaguar. It looked like it could be possibly a car thing. So anyway, the Biologics is someone who follows Jeff Lynne Boyles of Tennessee on Suno. The Biologics screen icon is a feline. that translates to aliens. The biologics liked my song Lauren Boebert is skinny. Therefore, the biologics equals Jeff Lynn Boyles, Tennessee, alien Lauren Boebert is skinny. All right. Lauren Boebert is skinny. From that, we get Skinny Bob up here. Lauren becomes unreal. And then we have ERET left over. ER translates to 1947 Flying Saucer. ER is the emergency room. Emergency room is Rome Medical Center. Rome Medical Center used to use the initials RMC. That's the anagram for Mr. C. On Happy Days, Mr. C was played by T. Bosley. TB is V. Osley is OYELS. So therefore, ER equals Boyles. ET is short for extraterrestrial. Skinny Bob remains Skinny Bob. Unreal is the engine used to create a world inside of a game. So from Skinny Lauren Boebert, we get 1947 Flying Saucer, extraterrestrial Skinny Bob built a world inside a game. From biologics and feline, we get the alien biologics. So the alien biologics can be used to describe occupants of the 1947 Flying Saucer that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. The aliens, the occupants of the Flying Saucer look like the Skinny Bobs from the Ivanhoe 135 video. So we get 1947 Flying Saucer, extraterrestrial Skinny Bob. The Skinny Bobs are angels, and let's see how it's God that created the planet, but it's the angels that kind of interact within the dimension here where Earth is at. So they've been the ones who have been interacting with man as man has evolved. So even though God imagined the planet Earth into existence, the world that's come into existence has been directly created by the Skinny Bobs. But the Skinny Bobs are biological exploration machines that God imagined into existence. So basically, the body of the Skinny Bob is like, think of it like a vehicle. Inside the Skinny Bob, there is a single organ, which is a power source. The single organ inside of the Skinny Bob's body is actually made out of the extraterrestrial DNA of God, whereas the body is not. It's like a biological machine. So the DNA in the Skinny Bobs is different. The organ DNA and the DNA in the body are slightly different. One is the DNA of God, the other is not. All right, Halloween 1974. All right, there's a photos taken in 1974. Let me see if I can. All right, I'm going to be talking about these. There's a white car I'm going to mention. Christmas Lumber Company back here. I'm dressed as Caesar from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. There's the white car. A musket rifle. Billy's holding the musket rifle there, and I'm pointing the musket rifle at the camera here. So these are the pictures I'm going to be discussing. All right, Halloween 1974, the white car. It belonged to Billy's dad, but was later sold to my dad. So for both of us, the car represents Dad. Dad is anagram for advanced or AD&D. The A stands for advanced, so advanced D&D becomes, or AD&D becomes advanced D&D. Advanced D&D becomes advanced 4-4. Advanced 4-4 becomes advanced $$. Advanced becomes advanced, comma, D. Advanced equals advanced. D equals 4 equals $, equals dollar bill, equals President of the United States. Pictured on it, current President of the United States is Donald J. Trump. We know from a viral video of a bee flying to him that honeybees fly to Donald J. Trump. Honeybees fly to Boyle. Honeybees fly translates to Boyle's Jeff Lynn. DD translates to $, which is $, followed by the number 2. The $, represents a dollar bill. In the phrase dollar bill, change the word dollar to a $. Now we get $bill followed by the number 2. Rearrange those to $2 bill. The word billion or bill can be short for billion when spoken. So $2 bill can be expanded to $2 billion. Therefore, the white car translates $2 billion advance, Jeff Lynn Voiles. The photographer was a hosiery mill worker. Therefore, the photographer equals hosiery mill. Christmas Lumber Company is in the background. They sell building materials. Therefore, Christmas Lumber Company equals building new buildings. Jeff Lynn Voiles translates to initials JLV. The initials JLV can be translated to X. Therefore, photographer, Christmas Lumber Company, and Jeff L. Voiles become hosiery mill lot, building new buildings, X. So this would be a reference to the fact that Elon Musk is supposed to give me a $2 billion advance to me, Jeff Lynn Voiles. He's also supposed to buy the hosiery mill lot and begin building new buildings for his X headquarters that he's going to move here. So we go down to Jeff L. Voiles holding the musket rifle. Jeff translates to 1, which is ONE. L is L. These initials here translate to JLV, which I've already demonstrated translates to $2 billion. ES becomes X. Musk becomes Musk. ET is a music video by Katy Perry featuring Kanye West. Kanye West was the 2020 POTUS candidate who didn't get elected. That would also be Donald J. Trump. Honeybees fly to Donald J. Trump. Honeybees equals Voiles Jeff Lynn. Therefore, Jeff Lynn Voiles holding the musket rifle translates to Elon Musk X $2 billion Jeff Lynn Voiles. So far we've got that Elon Musk is supposed to give me, Jeff Lynn Voiles, a $2 billion advance. And he's supposed to buy the old hosiery mill lot and begin building new buildings for his ex headquarters there. All right. Okay, Hollywood. Elon Musk said he wanted to destroy Hollywood using AI. So Halloween photo equals Jeff L. Voiles Halloween. Jeff L. Voiles translates to destroyer. Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Michael Myers has a shirt. On that shirt is the cover art for destroyer. Therefore, both Jeff L. Voiles and Halloween translate to destroyer. Therefore, Halloween equals destroyer. Destroyer equals destroyer. Destroyer equals Casablanca Records. Casablanca is a famous Hollywood film. Equals Hollywood. Destroyer equals Casablanca Records. That's a record label that represents the music industry. Destroyer opens with the news reporter giving a news report that represents the news media. Destroyer opens with the song Detroit Rock City, which is also a movie. On the movie poster for Detroit Rock City, there's a picture of Farrah's famous 1976 red bathing suit poster. It's actually a parody. It's not the actual picture of Farrah. It's a parody of it. The parodied image of Farrah from 1976. She was married that year to Lee Majors, and that year in 1976, Lee Majors was starred of $6 Million Man. On the TV show $6 Million Man, Lee Majors' boss was played by Oscar Goldman. Oscar Goldman can be rearranged to Goldman Oscar. Therefore, Jeff L. Voiles equals destroyer, Hollywood, Goldman Oscar destroyer, music industry destroyer, and news media destroyer. When I was a kid, I used to watch a TV show Korg. It's about a bunch of cavemen. It's called Korg 10,000 BC. So I was a Gemini named Jeff who watched Korg. All right, Gemini Jeff equals twins. Gemini equals twins, so Gemini Jeff Korg equals Jeff Twins Korg, which is Jeff Grok. Grok is the anagram for Korg. All right, Jeff adds up to 27. Letter value 27 is 1, which is A. Jeff adds up to 27. Separate and add. 2 plus 7 equals 9, which is I. Korg is the anagram from Grok. Therefore, Gemini Jeff Korg equals Grok AI. So Jeff L. Voiles translates to Hollywood destroyer. Elon Musk, $2 billion advance. Grok AI. I mean, everything's there. Elon said he wanted to destroy Hollywood with AI. Well, I can destroy Hollywood, and if he wants, during the 3 year build, which will be 2027 and 2029, I can use Grok exclusively during those 3 years to destroy Hollywood. All right. Uh, Jeff L. Voiles contains the word fly. Dixie Chicks Fly contains the song Ready to Run. In the video, there's the Dixie Chicks jump onto the back of a garbage truck, which is filled with garbage. Therefore, Ready to Run equals garbage. The lead singer of Garbage is Shirley Manson. Shirley Manson is an anagram for My Sinners Halo, which is My Halo Sinners. My Halo is a reference to Jeff L. Voiles' car because I have a Halo booster battery jumper in my car. So my Halo is a battery booster. Therefore, Jeff L. Voice translates to destroyer. At the beginning, destroyer, there's a song called Detroit Rock City in which you can hear the sound of a car. All right, so destroyer is Casablanca, and the artwork for Casablanca is a film set. So destroyer goes Hollywood. Detroit Rock City features the parodied image of Farrah. Farrah in 1976 was married to Lee Majors, who that year was a $6 million man. $6 million man had a boss named Oscar Goldman. Oscar Goldman is Goldman Oscar. Therefore, destroyer equals Hollywood destroyer. Goldman Oscar. My Sinners Halo, which becomes my Halo becomes Jeff L. Voiles Hollywood, Goldman Oscar Destroyer, and Sinners equals Sinners. Therefore, Ready to Run becomes Jeff L. Voiles Hollywood, Sinners, Goldman Oscars Destroyer. Jeff L. Voiles become the Hollywood Destroyer. This year at the Goldman Oscars, the big winner was a movie called Sinners. Sinner, Goldman Oscars. Okay, so one of the attendees at the Oscars where Sinner was being honored was Emma Stone. At the same time, Emma Stone had a commercial for Squaresoft in which she screams after trying to look up her domain. All right. So, Emma Stone equals Emma Stone domain commercial. Emma Stone domain commercial equals Sinners Goldman Oscars ceremony attendee domain. Okay, so Emma Stone translates to Sinner Goldman Oscars ceremony attendee, and domain references the commercial that she was in where she tries to look up her no domain. All right, so we get let's see, domain translates to I damn followed by the ring, and O for ring. Ring represents everyone will suffer. So what we get is I damn Sinners Goldman Oscars ceremony attendees, everyone will suffer. Now, of course, Emma Stone was the messenger, so she's free from the curse. But everyone else who attended is not free from the curse. If they do not make it onto the Ark 64, then upon death, they will be sent to the ninth plane of hell. Jeff L. Voiles equals Destroyer. Inner Sleeve of Destroyer was the first Kiss Army ad, which references Kiss Army, which is Army, which is a homophone for Army, Armie. Jeff L. Voiles equals Destroyer. It has a song called God of Thunder. The God of Thunder is Thor. Thor uses a hammer. Therefore, Jeff L. Voiles equals Army Hammer. Jeff L. Voiles equals Elon X, JLV. Therefore, Jeff L. Voiles equals JLV, Elon X, Army Hammer. So Elon and X hosted a free showing of Army Hammer movie, Citizen Vigilante, a movie that JLV purchased. Advanced Species, Ivan 0135. Okay, species. Okay, advanced species. All right, Species was a film I saw at a drive-in in 1996. It was part of a double feature of Species and Congo. Therefore, because I saw Species at the drive-in with Congo, Species equals Congo. Congo is located in Africa. Located in Africa is the Campanile Tower. The Campanile Tower is a bell tower located on Strand Street in Port Elizabeth. That is Bell, Strand, and Elizabeth, which translates to Elizabeth Strand Bell. All right. The Burial of Mel. In the same summer that I saw Species in Congo at the drive-in, I also wrote a short story called The Burial of Mel. In the story begins with a woman named Mel who dies after she pulls a strand of rope to ring a bell. Mel is short for Melissa, which can be shortened to Lisa, which can be expanded to Elizabeth, which can be spelled with a Z, Elizabeth. Strand of rope represents strand. Dinner bell represents a bell. The burial of Mel is about a woman named Mel who dies, which would which would be represented by the phrase "I die." Translate those into numbers. I die becomes 9495, which is 9495. The burial of Mel becomes Elizabeth Strand Bell, 9495. All right, so Angeline, the one that I went to the drive-in with, would later bring me the burial of Mel tucked away inside of a Dungeons and Dragons player's handbook between the pages of 94 and 95. Pages that translate to I die. Now, in the story, a woman dies, and in that death scene, the woman Mel, the strand of rope she pulls, and the dinner bell she rings all translate to Elizabeth Strand Bell, which happens to be the name of the person I would end up giving my only typed copy of the story to. So, Burial Mel contain name Elizabeth Strand Bell, which is also coded connection to the Campanile Tower in Africa, which is located in Africa. Also located in Africa is the Congo. Congo is a movie I saw with Species. Therefore, the burial of Mel equals Species. The burial of Mel was placed inside of an advanced D&D book. Therefore, the burial of Mel equals advanced. Therefore, 9495, the burial of Mel equals advanced species. All right. So on the last day, my last appointment with Elizabeth Bell, she transferred me to a caseworker named Cassie. She told Cassie I needed help. Oh, crap. All right. So Elizabeth told Cassie that I needed help getting a phone number for apartment complex. This connected Cassie to apartment complex, which was Cassie can be expanded to Cassandra. Complex can be shortened to or apartment complex can be shortened to complex. So from Cassie and apartment complex, we get Cassandra complex, which is a condition in which one has knowledge about future events. Now, by placing Elizabeth's name inside the burial of Mel, I had knowledge of future events. Now, on this particular day, Elizabeth told Cassie I also needed a ride to DMV to get to take a driver's test. I'd let my driver's license expire. So Cassie ended up taking me to the DMV, where I handed them my Ohio ID. On the ID is a picture of me wearing a white zombie shirt. Okay, so I've explained in other videos that on this white zombie shirt in the ID I had made, the original members, Sean and Rob, translate to skinny and Robert. Sean, if you watch old music videos, you'll see that she's skinny. And Robert can be, or Rob can be expanded to Robert, which can be shortened to Bob. Therefore, Sean is skinny. Rob's name can be changed to Bob. Therefore, the original members, Sean and Rob, become Skinny Bob. Now, the two non-original members are the drummer and the guitar player. Now, in this particular ID, the drummer pictured was their new drummer. I think his name was John, maybe. But the way the equation works, I'm identifying the two non-original members as White Zombie drummer and White Zombie guitarist. So even though the one on the shirt is John, the band White Zombie also had a drummer named Ivan. So White Zombie drummer can be changed to Ivan. Guitarist, the guitarist on the shirt was Jay, and on the shirt he was wearing a Kiss shirt. The Kiss member closest to the Kiss logo was Ace, whose name translates 0135. So the DMV ID I had in Ohio translates to Skinny Bob Ivan 0135 ID Jeffrey L. Boyles. What that means is that the Skinny Bob Ivan 0135 identity is Jeffrey L. Boyles. All right, so advanced equals advanced D&D equals the burial mel was placed inside an AD&D book. The burial mel contained a coded reference to the name Elizabeth Strand Bell. Species was on a double bill with Congo. Congo's in Africa. The Campanile Tower it's located in Port Elizabeth on Strand Street Bell Tower. Therefore, both advanced and species translate to Elizabeth Strand Bell. Therefore, Elizabeth Strand Bell translates to advanced species. Trump's New World Order, Glenn Beck and Liz Wheeler. All right. Liz and Beck. Liz is Elizabeth. Elizabeth can be shortened to Beth. The original title of the song, Beth by Kiss, was Beck. Therefore, Liz equals Beck. Liz equals Elizabeth equals Beth. Beth was a hit song from the Destroyer, album Destroyer, which contains the sound of a fatal crash. Beth translates to jet. Jet is a flying vehicle. Beth was a song in which only Peter Criss appeared. Peter Criss is a cat. He has a tattoo of number 3. 3 translates to Rome Medical, the ER, which translates to Rome Medical Center, which translates to Voiles. Cat translates to feline, which translates to alien. All right, so Liz becomes alien, Boyles, flying vehicle, fatal crash. Wheeler becomes Will, and ER becomes Voiles, which is 1947 flying saucer. So from the name Wheeler, we get flying saucer, Will. All right, Beck becomes Ben. Ben is a sequel to the movie Willard, which is a movie about a man who had control over rats. Holy Bibles equals honeybees equals Voiles. In the Beginning is a heavy metal song by the band Heaven. The heavy metal song, the song In the Beginning is sung by a rock star. Rock star is an anagram for Rats Rock. Rats is rats. Rock can be expanded to rock and roll, which is sung by Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin album covers were designed by Hypnosis, which is a homophone for hypnosis. Rock is a type of music. Therefore, in the beginning equals rats, hypnosis, music. In the story of the Pied Piper, a rat is able to use music to bring about hypnosis of rats. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees, translates to Voiles. In the Beginning translates to heaven, equals song sung by a rock singer. Rock singer is a rock star. Rock star is Rats Rock. Rats Rock references rats, hypnosis, and music, which is a reference to the Pied Piper story. Genesis translates to is Gen ES, which translates to is Gen X. Genesis is Gen ESIS. Gen remembers Gen. ESIS becomes Z. Therefore, Genesis becomes Gen Z. Holy Bibles equals honeybees fly equals Voiles Jeff Lynne. In the beginning equals a rock song equals rock star equals Rats Rock equals rats hypnosis music equals Pied Piper. Genesis equals is Gen X Gen Z. So what we get from all this is Holy Bibles in the beginning, Genesis translates to Gen X. Jeff Lynn Boyles is Gen Z Pied Piper. All right. New World Order. This is a they used to reference New World Order. This is a song by Ministry from the album Psalm 69. Ministry, one of the members is Giles Jorgensen. Psalms is found in Holy Bibles, book in Holy Bibles. Holy Bibles translates to honeybees, which is honeybees fly. Honeybees fly equals Voiles Jeff Lynne. Jeff Lynne Voiles translates destroyer. Opening track, Detroit Rock City, contains the phrase Rock City. Jeff L. Voiles translates destroyer equals Casablanca. Owned by Neil Bogart. The logo or the name of the company was a Humphrey Bogart film, so therefore Casablanca has connections to two Bogarts. Bogart and Bogart equals Bogarts. Jeff L. Voiles equals destroyer equals hit song Beth. Beth is a woman's name, is also a song. Angeline's name was a woman's name, but her song was also name was also a song written by the band Tramps Next Door. The band Tramps Next Door wrote a song by Angeline. It was played on a local heavy metal station called Z-Rock. They had one day during the week they'd play local bands that played the local clubs, regional bands. Tramps Next Door was one of those bands, and their song Angeline was played on Z-Rock. All right, and it was about the person who stood beside me. Oh, I think I left that part out. Angeline had bought me a Subway poster size Ministry Psalm 69 poster from Rock City. One day we were waiting for a light near across the street from Bogarts, and all of a sudden the door of Rock City opens up, and out walks Al Jorgensen from the band. He comes up and stands beside us and waits for the light to change, and he walks across the street to Bogarts. At the time, there was on the marquee, I think there's the name Revolting Cox, but at the time I did not know he was in a band called that, so I didn't know why he was there. I didn't put two and two together that he might have a side band. But he was there not with Ministry, but with another band called Revolting Cox, also known as Revco. All right. Ezekiel's Will. All right. Muse Watson used to own the Princess Theater in downtown Harriman, Tennessee. Next door to the Princess, there's a candy shop called the Sweet Spot. So what this means is Muse Watson in the movie I Know What You Did Last Summer played a killer with a hook. Now next door to the Princess Theater, which was owned by Muse, is the candy shop where the Candyman, which is owned by the Candyman. So the candy shop represents it's owned by a Candyman. Princess Theater was owned by Muse Watson, who made an appearance there when the movie I Know What You Did Last Summer played there. I think it was after that movie that Muse was interested in buying the theater. But Muse, who owned the theater, played an iconic horror character with a hook, and the candy shop represents the Candyman, which is also a movie about a killer that uses a hook. But in Candyman, honeybees are also very prominent. Honeybees, of course, translates to Jeff Lynne Voiles. All right, I explain here. One day I was walking past Muse Watson. He was on a ladder, so that he was standing in front of the two S's, so it looked like the sign only read Prince. I explain here how Prince, how this is the SS from the Prince has a song called Kiss, and the Kiss logo has unique special SS in the logo. And here I explain about Muse Watson going to be a character witness for one of his castmates on Prison Break. So basically, Muse Watson was a character witness at a courthouse in front of a judge whose uh, castmate Lane had been involved in a fatal car crash. On the show, Muse Watson's character had a cat. He's an actor who owned the Princess Theater at the time that he was on the show. All right. And I talk about going there to see Jaws at the Princess Theater. Harriman Hospital. All right, on one side of the hospital is a street called Devonia. Devonia translates to either a demon or a demon, which I believe is the Greek word for demon. On the other side is Queen Street. Queen is a band that had albums called A Day at the Races or A Night at the Opera. These were also movies by the Marx Brothers. One of the Marx Brothers was Harpo. Harpo is a company owned by Oprah Winfrey, therefore Queen equals Oprah Winfrey. As I've already explained, Oprah Winfrey translates to upon death, everyone will suffer in my fire. Right there. Roan Street. Yeah, that talks about. Roan Street is where the high school is located. Mascot for high school is the devil. So Roan equals Harriman High School equals the devil. Roan equals Christmas Lumber Company equals Christmas. Christmas equals Santa. Santa equals Satan. Devonia equals a demon. Demon. Therefore, Roan, which is by the front door of the hospital, and Devonia, which is the back door of the hospital, those two doors together represent Satan, the devil, a demon. All right, one of the visitors to the Harriman Hospital was a guy named Omar. He was wearing a Ford cap. Harriman Hospital equals visitor Omar. Cap equals Ford logo. Ford equals Ford. Fords used to be sold by Ford Lincoln Mercury. Therefore, Harriman Hospital equals Ford Lincoln Mercury. Black Sabbath. All three of my Black Sabbath albums I had growing up were bought by my mother Brenda. Name Brenda translates to God. Jeff translates to Jesus, so that means that God bought Black Sabbath albums for Jesus. When Brenda bought Jeff 3 Black Sabbath albums, it was God buying Jesus 3 Black Sabbath albums. All right. One, Brenda equals God, Jeff equals Jesus, Black Sabbath album equals Heaven and Hell. Even though Heaven and Hell wasn't one of the albums she bought me, Heaven and Hell is an album. So the word Black Sabbath album can reference Heaven and Hell. So from Brenda buying Jeff Black Sabbath albums, we get God, Jesus, and Heaven and Hell. All right, down here, Black Sabbath, the name of the band. Black Sabbath used to be called Earth, so the name Black Sabbath can be changed to Earth. Heaven and Hell are found on the album cover. The words are the angel is a character from Holy Bibles that translates to Voiles. The wings on its back reference fly, that translates to Jeff Lynne. The word heaven and the ace card held by the angel translate to Ivan 0135. We sold our souls for rock and roll. I explained how that translates to we sold our souls to either Jesus or the devil. Rob Zombie. All right, I'll show here the original members of Rob Zombie translate to Skinny Bob. Non-original members translate to crap. Non-original members translate to Ivan 0135. I've already gone through that. I talk about the pirate shirt that Rob Zombie is wearing on my ID that represents Jeff L. Voiles, White Zombie Pirate. This references the fact that a few years after I had the ID made, I became a White Zombie Pirate on eBay. I was selling White Zombie video collections called The Thrilling, Chilling World of White Zombie. All right. And then I explain here how I contacted Rob Zombie sent him an equation one time. He was wanting footage for a live video for Grand Funk Railroads, where an American band cover he did. Instead of sending him concert footage, I sent him a Butterfly Enigma video, in which I showed how his career as a musician and a filmmaker translates to Ice Ice Baby, which was a hit song by Vanilla Ice. But anyway, I'll zoom through these real quick.